Hey, we're back for another daily devotion. I know they're becoming kind of spotty. It's part of being here in the building again and not just shut up in my house. So sorry about that, but that's the way it goes. Just before we get going, the phones here at church have been spotty. If you want to RSVP, do it right now because we have service right now. Everything should be done by Friday. I know, but that's how life goes with our phone box. The actual guts that run the actual phone died, and so the handsets don't work. So call now. It works right now. By the way, it's Wednesday morning at about 8:30. So or whenever you watch this, give us a call. So I said we were going to take 2 days for this. We're going to do the first half of day 5 or 6. So we're starting here in Genesis 1:24. God said, "Let the land produce living creatures, according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind." And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kind, the livestock according to their kind, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kind. And God saw that it was good. All right, so what you've got here for the text is actually a bracketing. We've got God making all the animals, but not the fish and the birds. Those are already out there. So the land critters, and there's a ending where it says, "And God saw that it was good." And there's a deep pause because then we're going to get into God making humans. So that's why I said we're going to do day 6 in 2 different days because this is kind of a different thing. So what have we got here? God making all the animals. Now, my first thought is always back to the last verse of Jonah chapter 4. And I know that's going to be kind of odd, but in Jonah chapter 4, Jonah, has gone out to Nineveh and has preached, and now in 4, he says, "Okay, I've preached the words you wanted me to, the prophetic message. Now it's time to roast him," and God says no, and he gives Jonah a little time to pout, and then he tells Jonah to stop with the emo and just go with it, and Jonah says, "No, I want to die." And then the very end is, shouldn't I have concern for those who live in Nineveh who don't know their right hand from their left, and also many animals. So if you've ever wanted to know the trivia, the last word of Jonah is the word animals. And the idea there is that everything on earth belongs to God, and he loves everybody else. And he loves everything here in creation, and he made it. And so it's not inconsequential if you have a bunch of animals dying for no good reason. So we've got this running around here. I'm going to skip over here. No, I'm not. I promised myself I wouldn't do that. It's too tempting. So one or two other things in the text to notice. Humans are okay at learning to tame creatures, and some things sort of tame, and some things don't tame at all. If you've ever wondered why Africans don't ride zebras, it's for the most part they're untamable. There are 99.9% a stripy horse or a stripy donkey, but they do not tame, period, full out, right? I mean, yes, you can work on them. Yes, you can ride them against their will, but they're not a horse. Here in Genesis, it does give you God created the tame animals, and he created the livestock animals, and he created the wild animals. And there's a difference. This pushes at that understanding that the order of creation is more intricate than we first kind of understand at first blush. And then it also pushes at something else that's really important to get at, that the essential nature of the animals is determined by God, and it runs amok under this fall into sin. But the essential nature is created here and is laid down here. So a lion is a lion is a lion. What's the lion eat? I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm not in charge of that. And the other question, and we'll get into that over, when we talk about it more, maybe in a Bible class, is what do we take that to mean when it says, "And there was no death"? Is that no death in all of creation? Or does that mean that there's no death for the humans I'm not sure how magisterial that no death is. Um, but I'm also sure that that no death drives us in the short term to suggest that the time that Adam is alone is very short before Eve is created, possibly an afternoon. And then the time that Adam and Eve are together and not sinful is very short, numbering days, if not hours, right? Satan cannot wait to jump on us. So, all of that is to say, though, that essential nature, some things are determined by God to be livestock. So the sheep and the goats, and that's really where the Hebrew mind goes, because they did not really keep cattle. Cows are big. Cows are really inefficient food to meat producers, and they get sick and they're finicky, and it's just a pain. And they're huge too. So the Israelites did not really, and the Hebrews did not really keep cows. They were more sheep and goat and small farm animal sorts. And that's pretty true across the ancient world, because they are pretty, goats can eat anything, and sheep have the fur and the whole 9 yards. So what do we do with this devotionally? On the one hand, there's great thanksgiving for all of the animals, especially our pets. If you have pets, this is the part where God says having a pet is good. Okay, so there's a devotion in honor of pets, and St. Francis would be pleased with me. No, I'm not having a blessing of the animals day at church. I'm not having a literal dog and pony show here. Sorry, folks. But that's one devotional move here, is to thank God for our animal companions. The next devotional move here is to thank God for the meat food that he gives to us. So some of you might be vegetarians, I don't know, or vegans, I don't know, but most people eat meat. And meat is delicious. Pastor Dave prefers meat over vegetables. There it is, I'm a dude. So... But this is God has created us with canines and sharp molars to be able to eat meat. There's a blessing. God has provided a system where these animals are actually not going to, they taste good to us. They're not going to kill us because they're full of poison. So it's not like eating a poisoned dart frog or eating a slug. Don't do that. Don't lick a slug either. We've got wonderful room there to thank God. There is room, though, for prayer and repentance, right? Meat is usually the one that leads to gluttony. It's meat and sugar. So if you are a glutton, and here I'll bring in C.S. Lewis's definition of gluttony as well. Lewis, in the Screwtape Letters, which I highly recommend, but in the Screwtape Letters, Lewis says a different kind of gluttony other than overeating is just searching for the best and never being satisfied until you have the best steak, the best ham, the best bacon, and turning your nose up at every other kind of good food. Okay, so this is not just only shop at Winco and only buy the dodgy cuts, but it is something to think about. So there's an opportunity there for our devotion in terms of how we're using the products and especially the animals that God gives to us. Finally, there's room for repentance and maybe some prayers for stewardship and changing hearts, right? The world economy is such that we are doing humans, not Americans necessarily, but humans are doing damage to the planet to raise meat. And we're probably sort of complicit in this as Americans just because we enjoy the meat lifestyle, right? It's something we do, and everybody else wants to be an American. And we do import beef, although not as much. So, the deforestation, that is a real thing. That's something that's not good stewardship. It's something that we really do need to be aware of and to pray that God would provide systems and abilities to fix that. It's not inconsequential. Finally, though, in the midst of all this, the last devotional move is to pray for those who are hungry. It is still a minor scandal in America that Americans can go hungry. We're working on this. It should be a scandal at this point that anybody in the world goes hungry. We have enough food to feed the entire world. I'm not getting into the political parts of that, but I am saying there is time to pray for those who are hungry, those who have not had a good hot meal. Everybody remembers the women and children. That's wonderful. That they, of course, need food. But also remember there are a lot of men who are experiencing that same shortage. And this is irregardless of people's choices, too. Just because you make bad choices doesn't mean you get to starve to death. That's not okay, and it's not a moral position to hold. So there's some room in our devotion to pray for God to be good, to alleviate suffering here on earth, and especially the suffering of hunger, because he intends us to live well. It's not how we choose to do it via the fall, but that there's the room there. So there's some devotional moves. I will try to be back here tomorrow. We'll see how that goes with the creation of man. But there's a devotion on the first half of day 6. God's blessings to you. Have a great day.